Hey guys, what's up? It is iCanFly Jake, and today we're here to discuss the topic of attention to detail in DayZ. Now you may be wondering, gosh, is attention to detail really what anybody at all needs to be talking about right now when it comes to DayZ? And your answer is, well, probably not actually. No one needs to be really dedicating time to it, but the problem is no one, as in the developers. I'm not a developer, I'm a YouTube content creator, and I find this to be a really interesting topic, and I think you guys will too, so hopefully you give this video a chance. And basically what I'm going to be talking about is if you've played games like Grand Theft Auto 5, or I think Far Cry has some very good attention to detail as well. And I'm not saying DayZ's is there yet, but there are some specific aspects of the game that have amazing attention to detail, and I'm going to give those parts of the game some praise, and for maybe some of you guys that haven't noticed them yet or haven't experienced those yet, it will give you something to look forward to / search for, or just take in when you're playing DayZ. Because for some people, including myself, and I don't know, I want to say about 50% of the audience, DayZ is a game for realism. It is still, of course, for fun and PvP to some extent, but for some people just enjoy the atmosphere of the game. They love when they're going through the woods and it starts to rain or they get cold, so they make a fire, make a little camp, and just enjoy the sounds of the fire and the crickets around them. And this game actually provides that now. Give it a year ago, and when you were in the middle of the forest, if you were just listening, the forest was pretty much dead. There were some wind noises, maybe some, of course, the walking noises on the ground, but they've, over the past year and very recently, added some very good atmospheric directional audio. If you haven't noticed yet or haven't heard me talk about this in any of my previous videos, for instance, if you're walking next to a bush, you may hear a chirp or like a cricket chirping from the bush repeatedly, and as you slowly walk past it, it will be in your left ear, let's say, and move farther and farther behind you as you walk past it, as long as your headset is good enough. But theoretically, it's happening, and it actually is happening. And that's really, really cool, just because before, when you're just going on these long runs, which are guaranteed to happen sometimes in DayZ, it's very boring if the world just feels dead. I mean, this is a apocalyptic scenario. I probably pronounced that very wrong. So while all the humans may be dying, the animals should be flourishing. We should have deer around, birds chirping, bugs chirping, the sound of leaves, wind rustling, and we now have that. If you actually stand under a tree, you can hear the sounds of the branches rubbing together, again, directionally, and as you walk away from the tree, it will get quieter. There are literally tree sounds. The trees are producing sounds, at least as far as the game's code knows, and as far as your ears knows as well. Which is really, really cool, and just sounds great. And this stuff, it's smooth enough to where you guys may not even really notice it until you think about it. And a lot of you notice that DayZ has a good atmosphere going on, but you may not know some of these specific things that are happening. So I just wanted to point out the ideas about sounds. For instance, there's creaky, the buildings are creaky when you're under them. We'll talk about that a bit later and show some footage of that. But also, I wanted to go ahead and start off with some blood information. So blood splats were just initially added very soon, or very recently. I shouldn't say very soon. They were added very recently, and basically the blood actually goes in the direction you shoot it. So if you shoot a zombie, there will be like a splatter of blood right under him. And yes, I know the blood looks like tomato juice. It's way too bright, but that's an easy tweak for them to do with the color, as they've already tweaked the zombies' high-pitched noises to be more lower and sound better. So if you shoot a zombie on the ground dead, or a player too, or a chicken or anything, the blood will actually splatter in the direction you shoot it. And on top of that, the blood splatters actually farther and larger, of a splat. I keep using that word. I don't really know what else to use. Depending on the caliber of the bullet. So if you're using a big, big boy Mosin, you shoot the bullet, it's gonna be a big splatter, bunch of chunks coming out of the zombie. Any kind of gore the game adds, honestly, I think is better as well. But the blood will, splurge, that sounds bad too, splatter farther, gosh dang it guys, farther away, and you can see this, I've got some footage of it here, and it looks really good. I mean, in your mind, try to tweak it to be a little bit darker blood, but other than that, the textures are good, and it looks really cool, along with just the sort of animation that comes out when you shoot it. So, very, very cool. There's also some really cool attention to detail when it comes to how zombies and players, but more so zombies, react to being shot. So if you shoot a zombie in the knee, I have footage of that as well, the zombie will falter and kind of fall under that knee, and then become a crawler, and then crawl around, because it's not like he's just injured in the knee, he's now unable to walk, or she, I don't want to assume the zombie's gender, of course. Don't want to offend anybody. But, yeah, so now that zombie is now a crawler, and it's not like you shot them in the knee and then boom, they fall to the ground. There's a whole animation set to it. It's smooth, and again, you guys may not even really notice that this has been added in, but I'm hoping that after this you can maybe give some appreciation towards it. And knowing it's there is something to look out for. And it's kind of cool to show your friends. Maybe this is something when your friends try it out, because I know a lot of you guys are more of the DayZ supporters, and maybe you're going to be the ones showing your friends and teaching your friends how to play. So when you do, make sure to show them this demo. Say, hey, watch this, shoot the zombie in the knee, and boom, he'll fall over. Because if you shoot him in the head, I believe more often than not, they're just going to die. So very, very cool stuff regarding the zombies. And like I said, there was some footage of that there. There's some ideas revolving around blood, because while there is some good attention to detail being added to the game already, sorry about that stuttering, it would be very cool if there was some more added, of course. And I think that's the kind of stuff they'll be tweaking and adding post 1.0. But this is something I think they could honestly go ahead and add. And that's the idea of blood. Like, blood should pool under the player, like a liquid pool of blood that are dying or dead. So they're on the ground. It shouldn't just be a splatter. There should be like a growing pool of blood. Even if it's just two-dimensional, it would still be very cool to see that spread. People saying that it should splatter onto the person that stabbed or was shooting the player. So imagine if there's a guy up in your face and you shoot the player, there could be a blood splat that goes onto the wall, onto yourself, and maybe even, this is a little idea of mine, it's a little bit detailed, but hey, it would be fun. Maybe it could even get like in the eyes of the player. So your camera then might have some little blood splats on it. And by camera, I mean the screen. So you're just screen you're looking at through your character's eyes will have some little blood splats on it. And to get those off, just like you can wash your hands. If you guys did not know, when you cut up a chicken or an animal, or a human actually, you will get blood on your hands, and then permanently your hands will be bloody until you go to a water fountain or stream or river or probably even the ocean, I don't know. You can wash your hands off. And the same thing should apply to maybe your face if blood were to splatter on it. I know you guys are probably thinking, man, this is some deep detail, Jake. Like, this is not the kind of stuff we need. Well, you guys don't understand that the importance of gore in a game like this is so atmospheric and just, it brings people back. It creates memories. DayZ is a game that you remember your events more so than you do in PUBG and especially Fortnite. I mean, every Fortnite game you play may be super fun and easy to get into, but like, they're not all memorable. DayZ, even if you die and have a terrible experience, like, you remember that experience and you're going to avoid what you did last time, and you might remember that there was blood on your face. I don't know. It's just all atmospheric and very cool things, and these are just little ideas. If it actually prevents them from developing the game further, personally, I think, they can wait till post-beta or post 1.0 to add this stuff in. But there's so many cool things they can add in, even once the game is fully out. I mean, people wonder, what's DayZ going to do once it's 1.0 is out? Well, there's always guns, details to add, Easter eggs, maps. I mean, there's just so much they can add to the game. Like I said, we were going to discuss a little bit regarding the creaky sounds. So this is just a really cool detail you guys may notice when you enter a house or stand under like a roof-type building. That roof that's like made of metal or even like wood, and I think wood has even a different sound. So you'll hear, I'll give you guys a chance to hear this, when I go into these buildings, you'll hear the creaking metal on top of me. And that isn't just a sound you'll hear anywhere in the world. That is, the game knows you're under that object or near that object, and it will directionally place a like creaking metal sound as the wind is rustling some old metal sheeting on top of your head, or roofing, or whatever you want to call it, which is really, really cool. This happens in old wooden barns, sometimes in houses, especially if there's any metal on the house. It's very, very, just very cool, and like I said, atmospheric. And then also, I'll go ahead and give you a chance to go ahead and listen to also the really cool directional audio when it comes to when you're walking outside and you hear the wind and the birds and the crickets. I feel like I'm about to sing a country song here, and a cold beer and a warm truck and a loud, never mind, I'm getting those mixed up. But anyways, you hear these crickets and the birds and the wind, and you walk into a building, and immediately there's a smooth transition to all that fades around you, and you're now in the quiet. And that happens with rain, like I said, or the wind. It just sounds really cool, and you feel comforted when you're inside. And so just try to notice this next time you're in game, and of course you can notice it right here when I show you. So that was that with that sound there. If you guys have any other ideas for what you think kind of details could be added, I'm wanting to make sort of a series or set of videos on things to be added to DayZ Standalone in the future, and this does not mean before beta or after 1.0. It just means it should be added whenever. It can be as extreme as you want, can be as minuscule detailed as you want. I don't care. I want ideas, and I will, give you guys some credit for it, unless I thought of it on my own, in which case, I'm not going to say, just because I think of it and you did too, doesn't mean stole it from your comment. But if I see your comment, I promise you, and I did not think of it myself, I will give you credit. So leave your ideas for detailed stuff in the comment section down below. I think this game has tons of room for details to be added. I mean, with such a massive world, they can even add little details to specific cities. I mean, make some cities unique. If you guys have ever been to one of the northern cities, there used to be, or still is, a zombie that is hanging from there's a zombie hanging from a rope from a really tall building. And it's just supposed to it holds significance. I can't say the word right now. To where a guy committed suicide and you can just see the zombie there dangling. And that's just really cool and memorable. And people sometimes will think, which way should we go? Well, heck, let's go through that city. I want to show my friend the hanging zombie that he's never seen. It's a really cool touch to the game that many people ignore. And I think things like that can fit into the world everywhere around. If you guys didn't know, stay out on the look. There's a graveyard in the north part of the map in the woods you can find, and it's pretty much unmarked. Middle of the woods, there's like this old rotting graveyard. Really cool. There's a witch circle somewhere on the map. Tons of things to explore if you guys haven't. And this is something you guys should check out in your time in DayZ standalone. Whenever you get a chance to play and just run around. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you guys also share an appreciation for attention to detail. If you liked the video, make sure to drop a like. And if you aren't already subscribed, subscribe as well. And I hope to see all of you in my next live stream or video. Thank you for watching.